We have on my friend, Mr. Bryan Dulaney, who is a funnel expert. And he has a new book out called 1 Funnel, 1Offer, 1 Million, 1 Month. And we are breaking down how you can absolutely crush it online with his proven strategy. We're going to be diving into this episode with Mr. Bryan Dulaney. Do you want blissful balance in your personal and professional life? Great. What's up, guys? My name is Kerry Jack, and I want to help you happy hustle a life you love, one full of passion, purpose, and positive impact. I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur, a professional model / actor, a digital marketing specialist, a podcast host, author, a biohacker, an eco warrior, a martial artist, a hippie cowboy, and a humanitarian. My goal is to educate, inspire, and entertain you to live a life of passion, purpose, and positive impact. It is time to happy hustle your dream reality. Yee-yee! All right, my brother, Mr. Bryan Dulaney, welcome to the Happy Hustle Podcast, my man. I'm super stoked to rock the mic with you.
Yes, sir. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. He's got the Happy Hustle hat on for those of you watching on YouTube. We are just brothers from multiple masterminds together. We have kicked it in person, and I love podcasts with people who I have actually met, hung out with, broke bread with. We've snowboarded together in Montana, shot guns together, hot tubbed in hot springs together, and had a bunch of laughs in between. But you are a serial entrepreneur. You're a husband, you're a father, you're a man of God. You're also a happy hustler. And I'm really excited to talk about your new book, which is probably one of the better titles I've ever heard. It is 1 Funnel, 1 Offer, 1 Million, 1 Month. Who doesn't want that, right? Let's go. I mean, so we're going to talk all things how to actually do just that. 1 funnel, 1 offer, 1 million, 1 month. And we're going to get into a little bit of your journey, but really more tactics on how everyone out there listening, aspiring entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs, the Happy Hustle crew, can really put this into practice. But before we get into all that good stuff, Bryan, what is something interesting about yourself that not too many people know?
Well, a couple things. I'm a second degree black belt in Taekwondo.
Yeah,
that's a little fun fact.
Let's go.
7 years of going to the dojo 3 times a week, and after failing the second degree black belt, I kept pushing forward and ended up getting it. That's a fun fact. Another fun fact is I died and came back to life, and that's another fun fact as well.
Yeah, those are crazy fun facts. Like, first of all, I respect anyone who does martial arts because it takes so much discipline, especially to get to a second degree black belt. So kudos to you for that. And then, yeah, your story of, dying and coming back to life is insane. I highly recommend everyone pick up a copy of your book to learn more about that. I got to ask, okay, we're just going to dive right in. When it comes to like building a funnel, building an offer, specifically those two things, what is the biggest mistake that you see across the board?
Yeah. So really, I see the biggest problem. Like, it's not as much about the funnel as it is about the offer. And then before that, the narrative. So the biggest mistake that people make is they send out hooks and headlines and copy, and like, that's your narrative, right? Like, what's the story that leads up to your funnel? And a lot of people, they just throw in the towel too early, right? And I can't tell you how many times, like, we launch a campaign, right? And it'll do whatever it does, right? The audience, the demographic that you're targeting is going to give you feedback, right? It's the best feedback you can get. There's no crystal ball here. So there's no, crystal ball, we're just going to come up with a winning hook and headline and narrative that pulls people in like crazy. You have to test, right? And so that's probably the most important thing that you can think through is what's the narrative that you're sending out on your podcasts, in your video content, on your social media, right? Like, what's that front end hook? What's that? I call it the hook and the bait. Like, what if you're fishing? I'm a big deep sea fisherman. Love fishing. Going on a trip in Louisiana tomorrow.
Nice.
And people talk about sending out the hooks. I'm like, man, you need to put some damn bait on that hook, right? Like, if you're fishing for tuna, right? We're fishing with 12 to 18-inch mullets, right? And they're 150-pound tuna. So you've got to have the right, if you're trying to catch tuna, right? Trying to catch the big ones, and you're fishing with minnows, right? It's just not going to happen. You're going to be fishing for days, and you're going to have an expensive boat ride. That's going to end up being. And that's what a lot of people are doing with their marketing efforts is they're sending out weak hooks, weak headlines, weak bait that's being put into the marketplace. So I think that's the number one thing is thinking through what's the narrative of your brand. I always like to equate it to like, you've got political campaigns, right? Like a job of a political campaign is to put out a good narrative and put out a good slogan and put out a good hook, right? So look at, Make America Great Again. They have tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of people showing up to rallies. Build Back Better, which you don't hear of anymore, had 20 people in circles, right? So you can just look at the evidence of the show up rate and see which narrative pulls better. If you closely monitor politics, that's their job. Their job is to get attention. Their job is to get viewership and listenership. That's their job. So they have a lot of expensive, high-paid consultants that are consulting on what is the best narratives that they're going to put out in the marketplace. So for you listening here, it all starts with your narrative, and then your offer comes into play, and then the funnel that goes with your offer.
That's interesting that you bring up narrative first, because I don't think enough people think about that. They're just like, hey, buy my shit. This is a great, it'll help you do XYZ, right?
Well, that's another mistake I see people make all the flipping time. So they, I do consulting days. One day is where I do deep dives on businesses. And in the last literally week, I've had 2 private days, and they're like, hey, like our stuff's working, but it's not working as good as it should. I'm ready to burn the ship. Like, what's going on? I'm like, let me look at it. So I look at it, and I'm like, dude, you're going straight from ad to like offer. Like, there's no element of engagement, warm up, value add prior to actually inviting them to join your webinar or your challenge or buy your book or whatever it is that they're doing. These guys are doing all of those things. And I'm like, you're going straight. It's like going and asking for sex on the first date, right? How's that working out for you? Like it doesn't work that well. I mean, I always joke and say, you'll find an occasional slut every once in a while, right? but it doesn't work that effectively. So the key, and I see a lot of people make the mistake, is not warming up an audience and creating engagement and trust and rapport prior. And the easiest way to do that is simply to share value that works, right? Like I'll even put out content. You want to give some of your best stuff away, right? Like don't hold back, right? Just be vulnerable, share, be authentic, but give stuff that actually works. And then what I like to do is I like to say, hey, tell me how that worked. Like report back. Like I'm giving you this free advice. I'm not doing this for shits and giggles. Like go and do it. Yeah. Tell me how it works, because I want to. That's why I'm doing this. Like that's why we do this, right? Like we provide value and content and information so people can actually go produce results in their own lives.
Right.
And then that's an element of building trust. The more you do that, the more your audience is going to look at you and be like, this dude, this girl, they provide value to me.
Yeah.
Right. And it's really that simple. It's simple. It's similar to like building a relationship with someone you've never met before, right? It's like you're not going to ask for sex on the first date. That's silly. You're going to build relationship rapport. You're going to go on dates. Like you're going to build that connection first. So the same applies. Like we're all humans, right?
Right.
Like the same applies. We're not marketing to bots. We're marketing to humans. And so, the same applies.
Yeah. Yeah. I think again, a very important distinction, nurturing, building trust. You have done over $500 million online, which is very impressive, bro. And you also have learned from some of the greatest marketers in the game, right? I know Russell is a bro of yours, and you've been in the inner circle, and you're big in that ClickFunnels world. And, we had a biohacking business back in the day, and that was our game, free plus shipping book to, a course to a higher ticket offer. And we had this value ladder of Ascension. And I would like to hear kind of the updated version of what you see working right now going into 2025 in terms of that value ladder Ascension, because I know you're in the right rooms hearing funnel after funnel. What is working? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but in my understanding, what is taught, just broad strokes, You want to, like you said, if you're going to run paid traffic, have a paid ad run to some type of lead magnet, some type of valuable piece of content, tactical guide, something free in exchange for an email address, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you'd send them up to a tripwire, right? A low risk purchase, maybe under $20, to get that credit card information, to start building that trust, giving them exponential value for a very limited price. Then to send that up to potentially your core offer, right? Something that obviously continues to solve more of the problem that they just showed they want solved, right? With that tripwire purchase. Then
Yeah.
there's an upsell, right?
Yeah.
Potentially something that goes in addition to that core offer that just, again, increases that customer lifetime value and, of course, that average cart value. And then moving up to the follow-up, whatever on the back end could also be parlayed. Maybe it's an affiliate offer, et cetera.
Yeah.
That's kind of my basic understanding of funnel best practices when it comes to value ladder ascension. I'd love to hear what you're seeing right now, what's working. Is there less steps? Is there more steps?
Yeah.
Give us some wisdom, Bryan.
Yeah. So if you don't have a high ticket offer, first of all, I would say put that into play first before you build out all the low ticket stuff, because your highest ticket offer, number one, is going to give you the most money in return in exchange for the value you provide. Number one. Number two, it's typically the best way to produce results for people, right? Like the reality is, free stuff is only going to get so much consumption,
Right.
When people pay, they perform, right? And so first thing I would say is the self-education industry, which is why I think every business owner should have an education part of their brand, where they do webinars and they do courses and they do challenges and they say free information and paid information, where you're the thought leader of your market. Okay. So that'll set you apart from anyone else doing what you're doing, is by being the established thought leader. Self-education industry in 2019 was $400 million a day.
Whoa.
It's expected to grow to $1 trillion a year by 2025 or 2028.
Whoa.
Trillion a year, right? And there's many reasons for that. I think the world is waking up, thank God, to the reality that the path to financial freedom is not go to school, get a bunch of degrees, get a job, and retire when you're 70. Right? It's that model's pretty broken, unless you're a brain surgeon, then you have to go through that process. But most people go to school, they go to college, they get a degree, and it means nothing because they go out and get something that's completely irrelevant to what they got the degree in. The world's waking up to the reality of that. Okay, it's kind of like when I got started in this game back in 2006. Quickly, so I was buying courses and I was buying everything I could, workshops, events. I was trying to get my hands on information, but I realized that I didn't get my secondary degree black belt in Taekwondo by watching YouTube videos, right? That's kind of silly, right? Can you imagine stuck in my room watching YouTube videos trying to get my secondary black belt? Right? No, I went to the dojo 3 times a freaking week, and I had a sensei that challenged me,
right?
And I had that realization early on, that I need to find a mentor. I need to find someone specifically who has the results I want, and then I need to grill them on putting that same framework into play, right? And that was the best thing I could have done. So I think the reason why the self-education industry is blowing up is because of that same realization that a lot of other people are having, right? If you who would you rather learn from? A teacher that's never been in business, or would you rather learn from a dude that's making $1 million a month and they can just show you the way? Right? It's a no-brainer, right? It's a fraction of the cost and it's faster, right? But in terms of funnels, the number one thing is get your high ticket offer in place, because typically the higher the ticket the offer, the more results and impact you're going to have. And then after you are able to scale that, so you should get testimonials from every person you work with on a high level. Once you get that social proof, then you can fuse that into your marketing, because people don't want to just see that you've done it for yourself. They want to see that you've done it for others, right? So everyone's looking through that lens well, Bryan, this is great. You crushed it for yourself, but who else have you helped? And then at this point, I can say this person, that person, this person, that person, and it's diverse, right? It's black, white, female, male, young, old. It's super diverse. So people can identify with, I'm if she can do it, shoot, I can do it, right? They're not looking at me anymore. They're looking at the evidence of the output of what people have produced through me, right? Then after you've got, I'd say 10 to 20 people that you've crushed it for, right? So basically you've helped produce results that are similar to yours or better. Then now it's time to go one-to-many, right? The reality is I can only work with so many people on a one-on-one basis.
Right.
My fees are 15K a day. There's only so much time in the day, right? There's
Yeah.
only
Right.
so many people I can work with. Right? I only take on one new person a week. At the highest level, to be 52 new clients a year, right? That's very limited, right?
Right.
And so that's why we do webinars and challenges where we'll have 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 people showing up, right? Where we can start to impact more people. So I say that one funnel, that one offer, if you don't have a high ticket, is put that in place. And that's simply an application funnel that leads to someone to book a call and then have a conversation, right?
Mm.
But you always want to, like, you don't want to be needy. One of my clients that I just consulted with the other day, he was like, it goes straight from ad to book a call. I'm like, dude, like, you look needy. Like, anybody can just book a call. Like, you want every Tom, Dick, and Harry to schedule a call with you? Like, that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
As you scale, like, that's not effective. So you want to make people jump through a hoop. The hoop is the application. That application gives you so much valuable data. And then you can decide if you want to have that call yourself or if you want to give it to someone else on your team to take those lower level calls. Right. But if you're, again, if you're wanting to sell more high ticket, landing the bigger one, the whales, then the application funnel direct to call to a skilled conversation that leads to your offer. Right? That's the fastest path. Like, that's literally the fastest path to bringing in those high ticket, because not all high ticket people. Here's another key, Carrie, is we never launch just one funnel, but you need one funnel before you get to two. One of the things we found was we ran a challenge for our client a couple of years ago, and it was bombed. We spent $15,000 on an ad. She made $7,500 in revenue selling a course from her challenge. But we also ran simultaneously. So we had a challenge funnel that led to a course and a high ticket application funnel for her challenge or her coaching. She made so much money that she literally said, if doing crappy challenges that don't make me money are going to make me a lot of money, then let's keep doing these crappy challenges that don't make me money.
Right? Okay, so pause there and unpack that, because you're saying the challenge didn't make any money per se, but a lot of those people actually who signed up for the challenge ended up applying for her high ticket.
Correct. So some people bought the course and then went into Ascension, into the high ticket. Some people skipped it altogether and went straight to the high ticket. Now, if she didn't have that application funnel there, that would have never happened, right? She would have been solely focused on selling courses, and she would have threw in the towel because she would have been under, right? So yeah, whenever we launch a funnel now, we always, if we're selling, let's say, a lower ticket offer, like a $500 offer, $1,000 offer, $2,000 offer, we're always going to have a path for people to take to ascend fast. Because at the end of the day, right, like, your front end is for acquisition. Like, this is a really important tip. It's like your front end, like, understand this quickly. Your front end is like your $500 course, your $1,000 course, your $2,000, like, that's your front end offer. Okay. That is to pay to acquire buyers. So if you have the mindset, and a lot of people think, like, I had a guy, Jeremy Miner, who I launched years ago, who's crushing it now, doing like $7 million a month. But he initially thought that, like, he was going to make tens of millions of dollars just selling a course. Like, and he had that thought for a long time. And then when we launched his 25K mastermind, he was like, oh, my course is really where I pay to acquire the people that are ascending into my mastermind. Right?
Yeah.
So it's nice not to have any acquisition costs in your high ticket. But in the beginning, if you don't have that 10 to 20 people that you have as evidence of what you can do for others, you need to go get that first. Like, that's step one. Step one is go get that, because that's your ammunition, because people are not looking at you. They're looking at who have you helped that's like them. Right. And then selling is a lot easier. It's really a lot easier. Like, you don't have to be pushy. You don't have to be aggressive. Yeah. Like, you can be soft, casual. It just becomes a lot easier. You do have to have a really great offer. And when thinking through offers, my advice is think in the end in mind. So whenever I'm sitting down to create offers, which I do all the time, I'm thinking through, like, what are the outcomes this offer is going to allow that audience to reproduce, right? So think about what is the outcomes that they want.
Whoa. Apologies for interrupting your programming, but I have to tell you, the best investment you can make in yourself is one in which helps you acquire skills. You've probably heard people talk about, oh, just invest in yourself and you'll be successful. Yes, that's true to a degree, but you have to invest in skills that will ultimately help you achieve your desired results. And I think one of the best skills one can possess, be it an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur, is the sales sword. Really knowing how to sell, utilizing pressure free persuasion, which will make you more money and more impact. Now, if you want to know how to sell more efficiently and effectively, I just launched a sales course called The Proven Roadmap Process to Selling Millions of Dollars and helping you to increase your conversions guaranteed. And you can get access to this new sales course that the Happy Hustle is launching at thehappyhustle.com/sales. And if you act fast, you'll get it at the lowest price it'll ever be available, because we are launching it and we want to gain amazing testimonials and social proof to further share this knowledge. So if you act fast, you can get it at the lowest price it'll ever be. That's at thehappyhustle.com/sales. Now let's get back to this episode.
Okay, right. So building a 7-8 figure business. Okay, boom. That's our core premise here, right? So it's like, let's build a 7-8 figure business. But what else? Like, what else is the outcome they're going to get? They're going to be able to join a community of other like-minded entrepreneurs on the same journey, right? So that's baked into the outcome, right? And then you can start working backwards, but you got to have one core key outcome, right? Lose 10 pounds in 30 days, like whatever it is. You have to understand, what does your audience really want? Why are they here? And then a great exercise is to figure out, what are all the problems that your audience has, right? And how do they articulate them in their minds? So this is a fun exercise, is to either go poll your audience or come up with, even use AI to figure it out, but come up with a list of at least 10 problems that your audience has right now, and how, not only the problems they have, but how do they articulate that problem in their mind? And then from there, your job would be to flip that into value-based content that you can put out through social, through advertising, giving at least one tip for them to solve that problem. Because you want to be viewed as a trusted advisor. You want to be viewed as the thought leader on the subject. Yeah. Being the thought leader on the subject is rather simple. It's solving problems in the marketplace.
Damn.
Right?
Gold right there. I hope all you happy hustlers are rewinding and just listening to that last 5-minute monologue, because it's absolute fuego, Bryan. And it's like no one's really breaking it down in this simplistic manner. At least, I mean, I've talked to a lot of people, and I just respect how you break it down in such a concise, simplified way. Now, it's simple, but it's not easy, right? Because it takes discipline. You got to do the work. It's just like, again, getting that black belt. You got to show up at the damn dojo. That means you have to figure out your 10 problems that your avatar is struggling with and create the content around it, which then, builds that credibility as a trusted advisor. And that one pro tip, because I think a lot of people struggle with the content game of, what do I put out? I know I have in the past, it's like this machine, it's constant, but you could have ChatGPT put down 100 problems for X avatar, and you just go to town creating content on it. And then you have that go into your application funnel, which then solves the problem in a maybe one-to-one manner. I know this is kind of a rudimentary question per se, but when you don't have the high ticket offer validated, are you recommending kind of do it for free to those first 10 to 20 clients, or do you think they should pay a little bit? Because I know what people pay for, they pay attention to, but I'm just wondering your ethos on that.
Yeah, my take is do it at a discounted rate. So figure out I just did a consulting day with someone recently who does they're in the real estate game, and they have a model for building a dream team of referral partners. And my advice to them was, because, I was like, you need a one-on-one 30K offer, 25K, 30K offer, where you're that's your one-on-one offer. And then you have group, and the group can be discounted down to 5 because you're in a group, right? So you can discount the price because you're not one-on-one. But I said, go get 5 to 10 people. Instead of charging 30, charge 5, but get in exchange for the discount, build the case study and let them know, I want to take what's worked for me, what's allowed me to produce results X, Y, and Z. I want to take other people through that process and my framework, and I want to output that same impact, right?
Right.
So I do recommend to discount it. I wouldn't give it for free, because typically when people are given information, especially when you're working with people one-on-one, they typically don't take the advice or do the work required. So I do feel like there should be some skin in the game,
Right.
but it doesn't need to be at the price, like a super high price point. I mean, something, even $1,000, $2,000, like some exchange of value. So that way you're being validated in the value you're providing, and they're actually going to take it seriously.
Right.
Right. So
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's my best advice there, is that don't do it for free, because people that get information for free typically don't take action until they pay, like pay to perform, right? Pay to play.
Right. Yeah. I frame it as like a beta. So here is our beta program for our new rollout of XYZ offer. And, we're only doing 5 spots at this rate for this beta opportunity. Do you want in? And like you said, it's a massive discount. And in exchange, we get a case study / testimonial on the back end. Okay. So here's, I know the question that is on many happy hustlers' minds right now. And it's like, okay, I got an offer. I even built the funnel. Maybe I built it in ClickFunnels or whatever software platform you want to build it on. But now I need to get people to my funnel. How do we do that, Bryan? Are you thinking paid traffic right out the gates? Are you thinking organic, building on, your personal brand, going on other people's podcasts? Like, if we're talking 1 month, getting to 1 million, I want to hear kind of this fast track way.
So you'll definitely need to pay to play. Like, you're not likely going to get to 1 million in a month by organic, unless you have a large following. You potentially could do it with podcasts if you have a podcast lineup and you do a podcast blitz. It's potentially possible. It is possible if you have affiliates that are lined up. I mean, I've done hundreds of thousands of dollars with single affiliates selling my $1,000 course. Like, it's possible, but you have to line them up. There's not a lot of affiliates that can drive 1 million in sales in one promotion. It's very few out there that can actually pull that off. You're talking Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, like you're talking bigger affiliates.
Who you've worked with and got great results with. So that's pretty awesome.
But I like to pay to play. When I started in this game, I did a lot of SEO because I was a broke college kid, working as a part-time personal trainer, and like I didn't have money to spend on ads. So I had to get gritty. And so I learned how to master paid free traffic through search engine optimization. But that game's changed. I mean, it's changed so dramatically. And 2012, we lost 1,000 websites because Google decided to introduce their first animal update called Panda, and we got obliterated. We lost literally 1,000 websites over the course of 10 days. So a $750,000 asset was just vanquished in 10 days. And that was when I was like, you know what? Like, I don't have a business. Like, I need to be able to master paid ads. I would say affiliate relationships are going to be great because they already have a relationship with your audience. So if you can, like, if you don't have any budget, I launched a guy in 2010 with a webinar selling a course, and he didn't have any money. Like, he's like, dude, I don't have budget for ads. So I was like, okay, well, then you need to go get affiliates. Like, you need to go drum up promotional partners. And we did 150,000 in 90 days with no ad budget. But that was because he banged on doors. Like, he found a JV broker, and that JV broker's job was to go out and get promotional partners that aligned with his narrative and message. And the approach we took was, this webinar is going to massively add value to your audience. So like, the way I wouldn't approach affiliate is like, this is a great way for you to make some extra money. Like people with lists don't care as much about that as they do about the impact of the relationship with their list.
Right.
Like, that's the number one most important thing to list owners is the relationship. And by being on that list, they're entrusting you with that information. So any big affiliates, they're not just going to promote something for money. Okay. Maybe 1 out of 100 might. But if you approach it from the perspective of, this information that I have on this free webinar is going to massively add value to your audience, and they're going to thank you for it.
Yeah.
They're going to need to see a replay. They're going to need to see it before they promote it typically, but that's a better angle. But outside of that, I mean, the fastest way, in my opinion, is to pay to play. Pay to acquire. right? I
Yeah.
mean, you've got so many platforms from Facebook to Instagram to YouTube to X to TikTok. I mean, there's so many that paying to play is easy. Like you could spend 100 grand a day with ease. Now, I always say this, like you never have a traffic problem. There really isn't a thing as a traffic problem. Like I can give you 1 million clicks tomorrow, but what's that mean, right? Like, could you handle 1 million clicks tomorrow?
Mm.
Probably not, right?
Yeah.
Because most people don't have the systems to scale that at that capacity.
Right.
It's a narrative, then an offer, then a funnel problem. So it's in that order. So if stuff's not working like you would want or desire, you've got to first look at what's the narrative you're putting out to the marketplace, what's the offer that you're making, and then what's the funnel that you're taking people through. Like that's the bottom line, right?
Damn,
So yeah,
that's good. It really is that simple when you're doing process of elimination on what isn't working and what is working. Go through that sequence: narrative, funnel, offer. You know, there's a lot that goes into paid traffic. Maybe we have to rock the mic again and get into some of your paid traffic nuances, and because I think that it's very scary for a lot of people, but it's really just a math equation. You know, we actually, I don't know if I told you this, we just turned on paid traffic our first time this
nice,
past summer for our mastermind, the Montana mastermind.
nice.
And we actually got 5-to-1 ROAS, like for every $1 in, $5 out. I
Nice.
mean, it was pretty much like, what am I doing? Not doing more paid traffic and just dumping money into this because
I know we were snowboarding. I'm like, dude, you're not running paid traffic. Like, what are you doing over here?
I know, that's true. So we're going to turn on paid traffic actually again next week.
Nice.
We've been paused it just because, again, it was not like it wasn't working. It was just like we couldn't handle it because it was working so much. So then comes a whole nother problem, scale problem, right?
Well, here's the key with paid, Kerry, is that.
Go ahead.
So like, for example, like I love books. I love free plus shipping offers. I love the stuff that's like cheap and free. A buyer is 40 times more valuable than a lead. Okay, so it pays to acquire buyers. Okay, because buyers are more likely to ascend into high ticket than not.
Right.
And like for this book, I mean, we spend like $20 to acquire a buyer. The average cart value is like 50, right? But I'm cool with like spending $100 to acquire a buyer. Like totally cool with it because there's a connection between the book and the other offers we have, right? I call it the dance, right? So it's the dance. Like, is there a dance between your front end? The front end would be the book, okay, or a free webinar or a free challenge. Like, is there a dance between your front end and your back end?
Right.
And I mean, dude, I have people every week that literally will buy a book and they'll then, we go from book and we have other different offers that are in there that allow the average cart value to get up to $50.
Yeah.
But then on the back end, we do a bonus thank you page webinar, which is like we position as a bonus training. This is a big mistake a lot of people make is they don't sell their high ticket offer soon enough, right? So they wait until like, let's say you're selling a course and you have people go through 8 weeks of the course. And then at the end of that, you invite them to your high ticket offer.
Yeah.
It's like, hello, like
too late.
buyers are ready to buy immediately. Yeah. Right? Like case in point, right? So I spent 100K on a challenge, did $500,000 in front end sales, 997 sales. I had some people that bought the $1,000 thing and went into our high ticket offer, which is our agency, which is done for you. Right.
Right.
There was some people that didn't even buy the course. They're like, all right, I know you're an expert. Like I went through this challenge. Like this was awesome. Loved it. Can you guys just do this for me? Right. That should happen. Like it should happen on your webinars, your challenges. That should happen on everything you do that's free.
Yeah.
People should know about your high ticket, even if your main objective is to push people into your course or your signature offer, like your lower ticket thing. They should know, and we call it price anchoring, but they should know how can they work with you because the people, okay, so 4% of any market's fast starts. These are people that identify quickly they need what you have to offer. They're like, I'm in. Right? But if you don't ever make the offer for them to go there, then you're never going to get it. Right? If you don't ask, you don't get. Right? It's like pretty simple, right? Just put it out there more, and you'll get more people. It's like I had a woman who did an event, and I was like, you need a price hiker at your event. You need something that's high priced, where people can work with you more intimately. And if like she had a 25K offer. And I was like, well, you need like a 100K price anchor so that the 25K offer is like easy, right? It's like more palatable.
Right.
And she's like, no one's going to pay me 100K. I'm like, I don't care if anyone pays it or not. Just like do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And she reported back. She's like, Bryan, someone paid me 100K. I'm like, see, like you don't ask, you don't get. But if you ask, you will get some people that will be ready for that level.
Yeah, so true. We've talked about price anchors extensively on the show, and it's like such a valuable piece to the puzzle when you're talking about increasing conversions. Bryan, I do want to respect your time. I know you got a lot going on. Hot take: AI for the funnel game and what's to come in 2025. Give it to me quick. What are we doing with AI?
AI is definitely changing the game. We're heavily using it for basically idea generation, but man. I think in the next couple of years, like customer service will be completely outsourced to AI. I think sales eventually will be completely outsourced to AI. Like salespeople will be completely irrelevant. From what I know about AI and the people that are in the game of AI, I have partners in the game of AI. Customer service is not needed anymore as of now. Salespeople will be the next on the chopping block. But for now, like use AI from the perspective of narrative generation, content generation, idea stimulation, right? But then the key point is make it your own, right?
Yeah.
Like I have my client, I always recommend go live for 30 days on Facebook. Like before you launch a big campaign, go live for 30 days and go live. Like don't pre-record it, like show up live and do it consistently. Like choose a time and just do it, right? And then have a call to action to whatever it is that you're launching. But because what happens is your audience will start to like build up momentum, and you'll get into that rhythm of doing it. And so I advised him. He's like, "Well, what should I talk about?" I was like, "Dude, we'll have a plan for you in 5 minutes. We're going to go to AI. We're going to build a list of the problems. We're going to give you solutions to those problems that AI is going to generate, but you need to put your stories into it."
Right.
Like AI is not going to come up with all the life lessons and experiences you've had. They don't know.
Yeah.
They haven't been documenting your journey for the last however many years you've been at it.
Right.
So that's where it's key is, use AI, but don't only rely on AI.
Right.
Yeah. Use it as a tool. It's a tool.
Yeah.
And it can be used for good and it can be used for bad, but use it for good. Like use it to stimulate creativity and then add your own unique flair to it. Like
love it.
Combine the two. Yeah.
Yeah, that's again sage wisdom, my man. I do want to put you through the rapid fire round, and then we'll wrap this interview up. So, real quick, first thing that comes to mind: are you ready?
Are you ready?
Are you ready for the rapid fire round?
Oh, I'm ready. Born ready. Let's go.
Okay. Happy hustle, health hack. Go. Something uniquely Bryan. Something you do in the health game.
Health hack. Yeah. So a morning rhythm. Which I do with my kids now, and it's basically gratitude and appreciation and breath work. First thing in the morning, wake up, boom, out the door, movement and exercise, walking and being grateful for all the things that we have to be grateful for.
Love it. Money hack for saving, investing, spending, something we could deem a happy hustle hack in the money game.
Yeah. So money game, I believe in diversification. So your number one investment, your business, but outside of your business, where are you putting your money? I would say gold, I would say silver, and I would say crypto. I mean, there's so many opportunities there. You got to be careful, tread lightly, tread carefully, and do your research. But there's so much up and coming in that world. Right. At least start educating yourself about it because there's a shift happening financially. And then hard assets, land, real estate, stuff that people will always need.
Right. Happy hustle hack for connecting to a higher power, a spiritual, superpower that you tap in. Anything you do?
Yeah, for me, I like to get out in nature, get away from tech, and decompress and start asking questions. Right? Start talking. Right? Start. For me, that's what I do. And I get into nature, and I just start. You call it prayer. You can call it, talking to God, like whatever you want to call it. That's what mine looks like. And that's typically where I get the best I call them downloads or promptings.
Love it. Best business advice. Go real quick.
Best business advice. Model success. Find someone who has the results you want and go find a way to pay them. Favorite animal?
No, spirit animal.
Oh, spirit animal. I would say a lion.
Like it. Favorite food?
Favorite food: grass-fed, organic, pasture-raised beef.
Nice. Favorite book?
Favorite book: the Bible.
Mm. And if you had a billboard for the world to see with your last piece of content on there, what's that billboard read, Bryan?
Good question. um, make an impact.
Love it. Man, Bryan, I just want to take a moment, brother, to acknowledge you for sharing your love, your light, your wisdom, your funnel secrets, the ability to impact so many lives with your story. And, there's a lot of gurus out there. Let's just be honest, fake gurus. And you're not one of them. You're out there doing it, practicing what you preach. And I love that about you, man. And I always love laughing with you. I got the funniest mental of you in that game at the Mastermind, just cracking up. You brought so much laughter and light to that. And you're welcome. Anytime you want to come up or hang, I know we almost went fishing, but I'm just grateful for you. I'm grateful for your friendship, grateful for your insights, brother. I just want to say thank you for rocking the mic. So yeah, go ahead and mention too. Yeah, brother. Anytime. Where can people go to get the book? I know people are going to be like, all right, I need this damn book. I want to follow Bryan.
The path is going to launchexpertise.com. You can go there and there'll be a bunch of things on there, but you'll find the book there, or bryandulaney.com. I say Bryan, you got to have a Y. Bryan Dulaney, Dulaney. Either place.
Okay, awesome. And where are you most active on social?
Bryan Dulaney across all socials. So Facebook, Instagram, probably the most active there. X a little bit, pretty active there.
Yeah, and we'll link all this up in the show notes, but launchexpertise.com. Definitely get a copy of this book, y'all. It's
free.
So worth it.
It's free. Like, we're giving these things for free. Just pay shipping and handling to get it to you, and it's yours.
Yeah. I mean, come on, take action, people. All right, Bryan, final question. What does happy hustling mean to you?
Happy hustling means to me is like, it really is a work-life, call it work-life balance, but like, it's like, to me, there's no such thing as like work is a bucket and business and life is a bucket. It's all one, right? Like, our spiritual world is connected to our physical world, and happy hustling is operating in the physical world and the spiritual world simultaneously and loving what you do, right? Like, if you don't wake up loving what you do and doing something that you feel that matters and it's meaningful, that's why you're put on earth, such as a time as this. I feel like, you got some exploring to do, and that's okay too. My near-death experience woke me up to that reality. Why was my life spared? And I had to quickly figure that out. Like, why am I here? But if you figure that out and you connect, get away from the spiritual tug of war, which is like, I'm called spiritually over here, but I'm in business here. If you can find a way that figure out how that's connected, my experience is my business took off like a rocket when I realized that what I do for business is directly connected to my spiritual calling. And that was like a huge key that unlocked a lot of abundance.
Mic drop. Bryan Dulaney, y'all. Thank you for watching and listening. We are out. Peace and love, everybody.